Welcome, beautiful Sigma ladies. Fear isn't loud, it whispers, and Sigma females are the only ones who don't flinch when they hear it. Most people panic at the first sign of uncertainty. They overthink, overreact, and overdramatize like it's an Olympic sport. But Sigma females, they move through the very things that freeze everyone else, almost like their nervous system came with an upgrade the rest of us missed. Studies show that the average person makes over 90% of their decisions based on fear of judgment, fear of loss, fear of being alone, fear of being misunderstood. But the Sigma female? She makes decisions based on clarity, not panic, and that alone is why she terrifies people who depend on fear to stay predictable. And here's the fun part. She's not doing it to be mysterious or intimidating. She genuinely doesn't see what everyone else is panicking about. While the world is having emotional meltdowns, she treats chaos like background music, slightly annoying, but still tolerable. If anything, her fearlessness has a dark sense of humor to it. The things that make most people hyperventilate barely get a raised eyebrow from her. And that's exactly why the scary things she's not afraid of aren't just unusual. They're unsettling. They're misunderstood. They're the kind of traits that make people whisper, "What is she made of?" So let's dive into the 12 things Sigma females boldly face, while everyone else is still searching for the exit sign. Number 1, admitting she doesn't want what everyone else wants. A Sigma female doesn't measure her life by society's checklist, and she doesn't apologize for it. While most people panic over missing milestones, marriage, promotions, social approval, or the perfect life, she quietly walks her own path, completely unconcerned with the standards everyone else is desperate to meet. She knows the world is obsessed with appearances, with being liked, with proving that you're on the right track, and she refuses to participate in that rat race. To her, conformity is suffocating, and following a script written by someone else feels like a slow self-erasure. She sees how much energy most people waste chasing what they think they're supposed to want, and she doesn't envy them. She knows that living someone else's dream is a trap disguised as security. While others are scrambling to collect material validation, she's quietly designing her life around freedom, authenticity, and inner fulfillment. This doesn't mean she's selfish or antisocial. It means she's brutally honest with herself about what truly matters. She won't force herself into a mold that doesn't fit just to avoid judgment or to keep up appearances. Her choices are often misunderstood as cold, distant, or rebellious, but in reality she's simply refusing to dilute herself for the comfort of others. She'll admit openly when she doesn't care for the so-called necessities that everyone else obsesses over. She doesn't force herself to participate in conversations about trivial competitions. She doesn't feel pressured to marry or settle, and she won't pretend to desire the lifestyle that society idolizes. This fearless honesty about her own desires, about what she genuinely values, creates a subtle, unsettling effect on people around her. They can't manipulate her with conventional incentives, and they can't sway her with social norms. She's untouchable because she doesn't chase external validation. She has a clarity that terrifies people who are addicted to approval, and an independence that most will never comprehend. To admit she doesn't want what everyone else wants isn't just a statement. It's a quiet rebellion, a declaration of autonomy, and a demonstration of a mindset most people are too afraid to develop. Number 2, walking into deep emotional truths. Others run from a Sigma female doesn't shy away from the parts of life and herself that most people run screaming from. While everyone else is busy burying their emotions under distractions, excuses, or toxic comforts, she steps directly into the mess, the heartbreak, and the truths that make others uncomfortable. She doesn't avoid what hurts. She studies it, dissects it, and understands it because she knows that facing reality head-on is the only way to grow. The emotions that terrify most people, betrayal, loss, rejection, shame, are tools for her, not obstacles. She treats them with a kind of ruthless curiosity, observing how they move, what they teach, and how they can make her stronger. Most people treat emotional pain like a trap that must be escaped, but she treats it like a map. She knows exactly where the danger lies, and she navigates it without flinching. While others crumble under the weight of their unprocessed feelings, she absorbs the lessons and converts them into clarity, wisdom, and resilience. People fear this because it requires confronting their own darkness, the parts of themselves they refuse to acknowledge. She, on the other hand, doesn't fear darkness because she's learned how to coexist with it, understand it, and even use it to her advantage. Her ability to confront emotional truths makes her unsettling to the average person. They see her calm in situations that would normally trigger panic or overreaction, and it confuses them. They can't understand how someone could face the raw, uncomfortable layers of life without crumbling, without overthinking, without begging for reassurance. But for her, it's simple. The pain, the truth, and the raw emotions exist whether you face them or not. Running doesn't make them disappear, it just leaves you weaker. She doesn't seek comfort, she seeks understanding. And because she's willing to step into what terrifies everyone else, she emerges stronger, smarter, and far more self-aware than anyone around her. Walking into deep, emotional truths isn't reckless for her. It's a conscious choice to embrace reality fully, to strip away illusions, and to live in a way that most people are far too afraid to even consider. Her fearlessness in this area is quiet, unnerving, and completely untouchable. Number 3. Becoming darker, stronger, and smarter. After every betrayal instead of broken. A Sigma female doesn't collapse under betrayal. She evolves because of it. While most people treat betrayal like a poison that destroys trust, hope, and sometimes sanity, she uses it like a lens to sharpen her instincts. Every deception, every lie, every hidden agenda she encounters isn't a wound to dwell on. It's a lesson, a blueprint for understanding human nature at its rawest. She doesn't waste time crying over what's been taken from her. Instead, she studies it, stores it, and converts it into a strength that is both silent and undeniable. People expect her to fall apart, but she rarely does, and that unpredictability terrifies those who thrive on control and manipulation. She's not immune to pain, but she refuses to let it define her. Betrayal for her isn't a final chapter, it's a pivot point. She extracts every piece of insight it offers, every subtle signal she missed, every vulnerability someone tried to exploit, and then she rebuilds herself with those lessons embedded deep inside, stronger, smarter, and sharper than before. Where others spiral into self-pity or obsession over revenge, she moves forward with a clarity that makes her enemies uneasy. They realize too late that every attempt to hurt her has only made her more resilient. What's truly unsettling about her is the quiet power she gains from these experiences. She becomes harder to manipulate, more selective with her trust, and profoundly aware of who and what deserves her energy. Her darkness isn't reckless or destructive, it's calculated, protective, and lethal in subtle ways. The strength she develops isn't for show, it's a survival mechanism, a shield, and a way of ensuring that she will never again be blindsided by the same patterns. Betrayal doesn't break her, it forges her. Every setback, every hidden dagger, every act of deception becomes part of her armor, and with each one, she grows more untouchable. She doesn't just survive the storms that would drown most people. She thrives in them, emerging with a mind and presence so formidable that the world around her struggles to keep up. Her transformation after betrayal isn't loud or boastful, but it's undeniable, and that makes her quietly terrifying to anyone who underestimates her. Number 4. Telling people the truth. They're not emotionally built to hear. A Sigma female doesn't sugarcoat reality to make others feel comfortable. She delivers truths that most people can't handle, and she does it without hesitation, apology, or unnecessary delay. While the average person tiptoes around sensitive topics, afraid of offending or hurting someone's fragile ego, she sees honesty as a form of respect, for herself and for the other person. She knows that pretending, glossing over, or lying to protect feelings only creates longer, messier problems down the line. Her courage to speak uncomfortable truths is both unsettling and magnetic, because people sense that she refuses to lie, even for convenience. She's not cruel or malicious, but she doesn't soften reality just to avoid conflict. If someone is making poor decisions, hiding behind excuses, or living a lie, she will call it out. She doesn't wait for permission to speak or for someone to be ready. She speaks because the truth deserves to be said. Her words cut sharply, not because she wants to hurt, but because she understands that clarity, no matter how painful, is necessary for growth. Most people can't handle her directness. They squirm, argue, or retreat because their emotional wiring isn't equipped to face the facts she delivers with precision. What makes her truly exceptional is the calmness she carries while delivering these truths. She doesn't raise her voice, she doesn't dramatize, she doesn't manipulate. She simply states reality as it is, like an unmovable fact, leaving others to wrestle with their reactions. To watch her do this is unnerving because it exposes a fundamental weakness in everyone else: the inability to face truth without fear, defensiveness, or drama. Her fearlessness in speaking truths others avoid demonstrates a rare kind of strength. She understands that being honest is more important than being liked, more important than temporary comfort, and more important than maintaining illusions. This unapologetic embrace of reality, delivered without compromise, is what makes her both intimidating and captivating. People may resist, they may resent her, but deep down they know she holds a kind of power most will never possess, a power that comes from seeing and speaking the truth without flinching. Number 5. Walking away from perfect opportunities that don't feel congruent. A Sigma female doesn't chase what looks perfect on paper, while everyone else is scrambling to grab opportunities that shine in public perception. Prestigious jobs, lucrative deals, flattering relationships. She evaluates them through a lens most people don't even consider: alignment with her own values, instincts, and inner sense of purpose. To her, a situation that looks ideal to the outside world is meaningless if it doesn't resonate with her personally. She doesn't fear missing out on social validation or the applause of others because she understands that external success without internal harmony is hollow. She walks away from opportunities that would make most people bend over backward to secure because she refuses to compromise on authenticity. She's not reckless, she's deliberate. She weighs the cost of staying in something that feels off against the cost of leaving, and she always chooses the path that preserves her integrity and mental clarity. Where most people are terrified of making the wrong choice or losing a rare chance, she's more afraid of living a life dictated by other people's expectations. What makes this behavior unnerving to observers is how easy she makes it look. She doesn't agonize or overthink in public. She makes decisions quietly, confidently, and without explanation, leaving others to wonder why she would walk away from what seems so perfect. But she knows that the things that glitter for everyone else often hide compromise, restriction, or subtle toxicity, and she has no interest in trading her freedom for superficial gain. Her ability to reject what everyone else considers a dream shows a rare strength. She doesn't need to prove anything or chase approval. Instead, She trusts herself, her instincts, and her timing. By consistently walking away from anything that doesn't feel congruent, she maintains control over her life in a way that terrifies those who live in fear of loss or failure. This is not stubbornness, it's clarity. It's not arrogance, it's self-respect. And it's precisely this fearlessness that sets her apart, making her untouchable to opportunities that aren't truly meant for her, no matter how dazzling they appear to everyone else. Number 6. Outgrowing people. Faster than they can understand what happened. A Sigma female doesn't cling to people, habits, or situations that no longer serve her growth. She evolves quickly, often faster than those around her can keep up with, and she doesn't wait for anyone to catch up. Friendships, relationships, work environments, and even entire social circles can become too small, too shallow, or too limiting, and she doesn't hesitate to step away. While most people fear being abandoned or leaving someone behind, she understands that growth is inevitable and sometimes ruthless, and she refuses to stay in spaces that stifle her evolution. She moves with a quiet decisiveness, shedding connections like a tree sheds old leaves, clean, natural, and unstoppable. To the people left behind, it can feel sudden, even cruel, because they weren't paying attention to the subtle shifts happening in her mind, her values, and her ambitions. They expect continuity, but she operates on a different timeline, one dictated by personal growth rather than loyalty to stagnation. She's unafraid of the fallout, of the confusion, or of the resentment she may provoke, because she knows that holding on to anything that no longer fits her life is far more damaging than walking away. Her ability to outgrow people fast makes her unpredictable and, at times, intimidating. She doesn't linger in situations for comfort or fear of change. She doesn't compromise her evolution to maintain appearances or avoid awkward confrontations. Her detachment isn't cold, it's conscious. It's a recognition that life is fluid, that people change, and that the unwillingness of others to grow at her pace is not her problem. By constantly moving beyond outdated relationships and circumstances, she surrounds herself only with what elevates her, challenges her, or aligns with her evolving identity. This creates a ripple effect that others feel. They sense her independence, her clarity, and her refusal to be held back, and it unsettles those who depend on predictability, compliance, or emotional dependence. She outgrows faster not out of cruelty, but out of necessity, and it's precisely this fearlessness in personal evolution that sets her apart and makes her untouchable to stagnation, mediocrity, and anyone unwilling to grow alongside her. Number 7. Being the only sober mind in a room full of emotional chaos. A Sigma female doesn't get swept up in emotional hysteria the way most people do. While others panic, overreact, or spiral when tension rises, she stays calm, composed, and remarkably aware. She can walk into a room full of arguments, gossip, or panic and remain unmoved, like an anchor in a storm that everyone else fears will pull them under. This level of emotional control isn't arrogance, it's mastery. She has trained herself to observe, analyze, and respond only when it serves her, and she refuses to be manipulated by the chaotic energies that overwhelm everyone else. Most people fear confrontation, confusion, or unpredictability because it exposes their lack of control. She thrives in it, not because she wants conflict, but because she sees it clearly for what it is. She can read motives, hidden agendas, and insecurities without needing reassurance or validation. While the world around her erupts in drama, she remains the steady point everyone unknowingly measures themselves against. Her presence alone unsettles people because it highlights how unprepared they are to handle reality without falling apart. She doesn't try to fix everyone or smooth over their emotions. She doesn't feel the need to be liked or to play mediator. She simply observes, maintains her calm, and acts when it truly matters. To onlookers, her detachment can feel intimidating. It's unnerving to watch someone navigate chaos with such control because it exposes the truth. Most people are emotionally untrained, reactive, and vulnerable to manipulation. She demonstrates silently and powerfully that fear, panic, and overreaction are optional, not inevitable. Being the only sober mind in a room of emotional chaos gives her influence that few can resist or even understand. She holds a quiet power that doesn't demand attention but commands respect through presence alone. People may try to provoke, manipulate, or overwhelm her, but she's untouchable because she's grounded in reality while everyone else is lost in illusion. Her calm in the storm isn't just survival, it's a demonstration of mastery that makes her quietly terrifying to anyone addicted to emotional drama. Number 8. Being so independent. It makes others question their relevance. A Sigma female doesn't rely on anyone for validation, approval, or emotional support, and that level of independence is unsettling to most people. While others build their self-worth around relationships, compliments, or social recognition, she derives hers from within. She knows who she is, what she wants, and what she can achieve on her own. This kind of self-sufficiency is rare, and it quietly forces people around her to confront a truth they're often unwilling to admit. She doesn't need them, and that realization can make them feel irrelevant, insecure, or powerless. She doesn't flaunt her independence, she simply lives it. She makes decisions without waiting for input, pursues goals without needing permission, and navigates life on her own terms. The people who are used to being relied upon, or who are accustomed to having influence over others, suddenly find themselves unnecessary in her world. This creates a subtle but powerful tension, because they can no longer manipulate, control, or guide her the way they might with someone less self-reliant. Her autonomy exposes the gap between those who depend on others for identity and those who have mastered the art of being fully self-contained. Her independence isn't about arrogance or isolation, it's about clarity and personal power. She doesn't stay in toxic relationships, meaningless social circles, or situations that limit her because she's content to operate alone. She understands that relying on others for emotional or social stability is a weakness, and she refuses to compromise herself for convenience or comfort. This approach makes her unpredictable and, at times, intimidating because people can't place her within their usual frameworks of influence or control. Being so independent doesn't make her lonely. It makes her untouchable. She commands her life without permission and doesn't seek approval for her choices. Those who are accustomed to being central in other people's lives are forced to reassess their relevance when confronted with someone who can thrive completely on her own. Her self-sufficiency is a quiet kind of power, a force that both inspires and unnerves, and it's a defining trait that sets her apart from everyone else. Number 9. Confronting manipulators without playing along. A Sigma female doesn't tolerate manipulation, and she doesn't play the games most people bend over backward to survive. While others try to charm, appease, or negotiate their way out of being controlled, she sees through the tricks immediately and confronts them head-on. She doesn't need to win friends or influence people through lies or flattery. She relies on her clarity, instinct, and precision to deal with those who try to exploit her. This ability to face manipulators without hesitation is both rare and unnerving because it exposes a reality most people refuse to acknowledge. They are not in control when she refuses to cooperate. She doesn't argue for the sake of proving a point, nor does she get emotional when someone tries to twist her. Her confrontations are deliberate, calm, and direct. She identifies motives, highlights inconsistencies, and neutralizes attempts at manipulation with the quiet authority of someone who has no fear of social backlash. Where manipulators expect confusion, compliance, or guilt, they find none. Her refusal to play along leaves them exposed and powerless, and the realization that they cannot bend her to their will often sparks frustration or fear. What makes her confrontation terrifying is that it is clean and surgical. She doesn't overreact, yell, or dramatize, but every word, gesture, and boundary communicates her unshakable stance. Unlike people who fight manipulators out of emotion, she fights from strategy, understanding that the longer she allows deception to continue, the more risk it poses to her life, energy, or peace. She removes herself from toxic dynamics efficiently and without remorse, leaving manipulators bewildered and frustrated. Her ability to confront manipulators without playing along isn't just a defensive skill, it's a demonstration of dominance over her own life. She dictates her own boundaries, protects her energy, and refuses to give power to those who seek to control her. People underestimate her at their peril, because she can dismantle their schemes faster than they can even formulate them. This fearless mastery over manipulation is part of what makes her presence so magnetic and unsettling. She doesn't just resist control, she exposes it and walks away stronger every time. Number 10. Letting someone love her without promising. She'll love back the same way. A Sigma female doesn't feel obligated to mirror the emotions of others, and she doesn't apologize for it. While most people panic when someone cares for them, feeling pressured to reciprocate even when it doesn't align with their heart, she moves with complete clarity. She can accept love, attention, and affection without faking feelings she doesn't have. To her, authenticity matters far more than comfort or validation. She understands that pretending to feel what she doesn't is far more damaging than being honest, and she refuses to compromise her emotional integrity for anyone. This approach makes her unpredictable and unsettling to those who expect conventional reciprocity in relationships. People assume that affection must be returned in equal measure, that emotional investments create invisible contracts, and that failing to meet those expectations is a betrayal. She ignores these unwritten rules because she refuses to let social norms dictate her heart. She allows others to express their feelings, to invest, to care deeply, but she keeps her own emotional center untangled and self-contained. This doesn't mean she's cold or incapable of love. It means she's conscious, deliberate, and unwilling to lose herself in someone else's projection of desire. Her fearlessness in this area exposes a truth most people avoid. Love isn't a transaction. She doesn't manipulate, guilt, or perform to meet expectations. Instead, she maintains a balance that is both rare and disarming. She accepts the love offered without compromising her own boundaries or pretending to match it. For those who are emotionally dependent, this can feel destabilizing. They're used to control, predictability, or the comfort of being mirrored, and she refuses to provide it artificially. By allowing others to love her without promising identical affection in return, she demonstrates a quiet but powerful independence. She prioritizes her own emotional truth over external pressure and refuses to be bound by societal or relational expectations. This rare blend of honesty, awareness, and control over her own feelings is both magnetic and intimidating, creating relationships on her terms and setting her apart from everyone who fears authenticity. Number 11. Saying no. Without softening the blow. A Sigma female doesn't water down her boundaries, and she doesn't apologize for asserting them. While most people struggle to say no because they fear conflict, judgment, or rejection, she delivers it plainly, confidently, and without hesitation. Her no isn't rude or cruel. It's absolute. She doesn't dress it up with excuses, apologies, or half measures to make others feel comfortable. She knows that sugarcoating weakens the message and invites negotiation, manipulation, or repeated disregard. By stating her limits clearly and firmly, she communicates power, self-respect, and unwavering clarity in a way that unnerves anyone used to compliance or ambiguity. Most people fear the finality of no because it forces them to confront rejection or limits. She, on the other hand, sees no as a protective tool, a form of honesty, and a demonstration of independence. When she says no, it's not about controlling others, it's about controlling herself, her energy, and her life. She doesn't bend for expectations, peer pressure, or emotional blackmail. Her refusal is clean, deliberate, and unshakable. Those who are used to pushing boundaries or testing patience quickly realize that with her there is no room for manipulation or negotiation. Her approach makes her intimidating and magnetic at the same time. People are drawn to her clarity, but also unsettled by it because they are rarely confronted with someone who doesn't soften the truth to make them feel comfortable. Her ability to say no outright forces others to respect her space, her decisions, and her autonomy. They can't twist her words, guilt her into compromise, or exploit her kindness because she doesn't give them the opportunity. Saying no without softening the blow isn't about aggression, it's about precision and self-respect. It's a skill most people lack, relying instead on excuses, apologies, or manipulative politeness to avoid confrontation. She has mastered it, and it sets her apart. Her no is a statement of independence, an assertion of boundaries, and a declaration that she will never compromise herself for the comfort or expectations of anyone else. In her world, no is not a denial. It's power in its purest form. Number 12. Protecting her peace. Even if it means looking heartless. A Sigma female values her inner peace above everything else, and she doesn't apologize for it. While most people bend, compromise, or excuse toxic behavior just to maintain appearances or avoid confrontation, she prioritizes her mental and emotional stability over pleasing others. She's not selfish, she's strategic. She understands that allowing chaos, negativity, or drama into her life corrodes her clarity and energy, and she refuses to let anyone or anything take that from her. This willingness to protect her peace often makes her seem cold or detached to those who expect constant availability, compliance, or emotional labor. She recognizes that pleasing everyone is a trap. Most people fear looking heartless because they equate empathy with self-sacrifice. She doesn't. She knows that being compassionate doesn't mean surrendering her boundaries. She can care deeply, yet choose not to engage in situations that drain her. She can walk away from toxic people, manipulative relationships, or environments filled with unnecessary conflict without guilt. To the untrained eye, this can feel harsh or unfeeling, but for her it's survival and mastery over her own life. Her fearlessness in defending her peace is what makes her quietly intimidating. People who thrive on control, attention, or emotional leverage quickly realize that she is untouchable in her calm. She won't be swayed by guilt trips, demands, or manipulation. She doesn't argue endlessly, justify her decisions, or beg for understanding. Her calm detachment is not apathy. It's a deliberate choice to preserve her energy and maintain sovereignty over her mind. By protecting her peace at all costs, even if it makes her look heartless, she creates a world where her clarity, focus, and power remain intact. People may resent her choices or misunderstand her actions, but she doesn't bend for perception. Her life is governed by principles, not by the expectations or comfort of others. She shows that true strength isn't loud or performative. It's the quiet, unwavering commitment to oneself. Her ability to prioritize peace over approval sets her apart, making her untouchable, unshakable, and profoundly formidable in ways most people cannot comprehend. Sigma females operate on a level that most people can barely comprehend. They navigate life with a fearlessness that isn't loud or showy. It's quiet, deliberate, and unsettling to anyone who depends on fear, manipulation, or societal expectations to guide their actions. From rejecting what everyone else worships, to confronting uncomfortable truths, to protecting their peace without apology, they live by rules that only they set, and in doing so they redefine strength, independence, and authenticity. Their power isn't just in what they do, but in what they refuse to do, the compromises they won't make, the manipulation they won't tolerate, and the illusions they refuse to buy into. Every choice, every boundary, and every action is calculated, intentional, and unshakably aligned with their own values. They don't need validation, they don't bend for approval, and they don't fear walking away from anything or anyone that doesn't serve their evolution. Being a Sigma female means embracing a level of self-awareness and courage that most people are too afraid to even approach. It's a rare combination of intelligence, intuition, and emotional mastery, wrapped in a presence that commands respect without demanding it. The world may call her cold, intimidating, or hard to understand, but beneath that exterior lies a mind and spirit that are impossible to manipulate, impossible to control, and impossible to ignore. She teaches a profound lesson without speaking, that true power comes from knowing yourself, protecting your energy, and moving through life on your own terms. If this deep dive into the world of Sigma females left you intrigued, inspired, or even a little unsettled, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe to the channel to uncover more insights like these, leave a comment sharing your thoughts or experiences, and share this video with someone who needs to see the truth about fearlessness, independence, and unmatched inner strength. Your engagement helps us continue to explore the rare, the extraordinary, and the untouchable aspects of personalities that defy the ordinary. Stay curious, stay fearless, and never underestimate the power of walking your own path.